Hi, welcome back. I am Kimmy with On William Street, and today we are going to switch gears a little bit and we're going to talk about something a little bit different than what we've talked about in the past. And the thing that I want to touch on today is exercise. And I know you're thinking, what? But stick with me. So a few weeks ago I was teaching a class, and in one of my classes I had a counselor. And I made a comment. We were learning to quilt with rulers, and I made the comment that I can only hold my rulers with my left hand and move the sewing machine with my right hand. When I long arm, I'm not able to switch back and forth. Even with the ruler there, I can't get my machine to follow the ruler with my left hand. And she told me, well, just think though, if you were to force yourself to do that and to learn how to work with the opposite hand, how much more creative you could be. And that really got me thinking, how often do we really step outside of our comfort zones and stretch ourselves to really exercise our creative muscles? So I know a lot of times you think like, we get in ruts, right? We get in creative ruts and we think, well, I want to work on a project, but I really don't know what to do or how to do it, or I'm having a hard time with this particular project and I don't really know what direction to take it, or how I want to add or finish it out. And it can be frustrating when you're trying to work on something new and you just have this mental block. So what I put together today is a list of 4 different things that you can do to really kind of stretch your creative muscles and to help get yourself out of those creative ruts. So if you find yourself stuck, try one of these techniques and see if it helps. All right, so when you're sitting down and you're trying to get out of a creative rut, the first recommendation that I'm going to have is to go ahead and remove all limitations. Often when we start to creating, we think, okay, well, do I know how to do this? How much long is it going to take me? What are the costs that are involved? What are the techniques? Is this something that I can actually make? And these can really hinder the creative process as you're coming up with new designs. If we're so focused on the technical aspect, it doesn't allow the right side of our brain to take over and to really stretch ourselves. We found a lot of times when we start to design quilts, we don't worry about the end result at the beginning. We just start putting ideas down on paper. If we really like it, we'll figure out how to construct it later, simplify it, or else learn a new technique to make that happen. Also, another part of that is when you're doing this step and removing all limitations is don't think that you have to make everything you create. We have books full of quilt ideas that will never actually become quilts, but that's okay, because as you're working through this process and you're just going for it, you may end up with something that you really, really love, and those are the ones that you then want to focus your creative energy on. But when you don't have to worry about making everything you do, it just removes the opportunity for failure. You can't fail because it's simply a process. So first thing I'm going to ask you to do is go ahead and remove all the limitations. Okay, so now the next exercise that I want you to think about is to go ahead and actually place limitations on yourself. And I know you're saying, what? You just told me to get rid of all those and that they can hinder the creative process. And that while that is true, I want you to think about it in a little bit of a different way. And I don't necessarily mean worry about, can I afford this or do I know how to make this? Those aren't the kinds of limitations that I'm talking about. Those are the ones we want to kind of not worry about. But I mean more things that just set certain parameters for you to work in. So one group that Missy and I are a part of is a Quilt Design a Day group on Facebook. And the premise is that every day a picture is posted and it has a color palette that's pulled from that picture. And your challenge is to design a quilt based off of the photo using those very specific colors. So it just sets some very specific parameters for you to use, and it's really amazing the different ideas, and it's so much fun to see the different ideas that everyone comes up with off of one specific photo. So it's really a lot of fun to see how things can change. You can also do this with like specific blocks. If there's a traditional block, you can think, okay, I want to use this block, but how can I change it? How can I update it? How can I make it look a little bit different? How can I change the coloring that might be normal in that block? How can I mix that up? Or else you can also use a specific technique and say, okay, I really want to work with just applique. What can I do with applique? Or I really want to try out foundation paper piecing. What can I come up with for the foundation paper piecing? So these are some different ways to kind of place some limits and place some parameters on yourself to get your brain thinking about how can you accomplish that within those set limits. Another way to help us really get out of a rut is to learn something new. This is such a great way to really get our muscles thinking and our creative muscles going in a new direction, is to just completely learn something new. So it could either be a new quilting skill, it could be a new craft completely. It just gets your brain seeing things from a different angle, and you can find ways to connect them and to help you become more creative throughout the process. So with the internet, we have obviously a plethora of ways to learn new things. You can always take an online class. There are so many available online classes out there to find something that interests you. You can also do classes with your guilds. Or stores. If you go to your local quilt shop, a lot of them will have classes that you can take. Guilds will put on classes and programs. You can go to quilt shows and take classes. So those ones are a lot of fun. I really like taking in-person classes because you have that immediate feedback, and then also you can see what everybody else is working on and doing too, and it just creates this great community. So online classes are great for time savers, and you can take them anywhere. In-person classes are fantastic for the community. Another way is you can also actually buy books. So Missy and I actually have a stack of books that have new techniques and things that we like to kind of pull from and get inspiration from. And every once in a while when we have a spare weekend, we can take it and we can work on one of these techniques and go through the book. And these aren't necessarily pattern books, they're more definitely technique books, teaching you more of a style instead of just a specific pattern. So those are a lot of fun to find. And a lot of times they're actually things that really aren't our style and aren't things that we would normally do. But that's why it's so great, because it's a completely different way of thinking and seeing things, and I feel that it makes us better in our style that we do normally use. Okay, and the last way that I want to talk about really helping you get out of a creative rut is to participate in a challenge. This is similar to the placing limitations, but an actual challenge where you're going to go ahead and complete the project from start to finish. And these are a lot of fun and a great way to really push yourself outside of things that you would normally do. And there's a lot of places to find challenges as well. There's a lot of them on Instagram. Like I know that we have the Pantone Color Challenge that's just happened for the Pantone Color of the Year that an Instagrammer put on. There are challenges with, like Curated Quilts does a mini quilt challenge every issue. And you've got challenges with the Modern Quilt Guild and other guilds. And so they put these challenges on. One that I kind of want to talk about is like our guild, our personal guild. The Phoenix Modern Quilt Guild is doing a challenge, and it's based on any quilt. There's no limitations on the size or the style. It just has to do with the desert, and it has to have words on it. And these really are both two topics that I would normally avoid. I don't put a lot of words on my quilts, and I'm not really inspired by the desert. I know. I'm just not. So these are things that I would normally avoid. But because of this challenge, it's gotten me thinking, okay, how can I see this in a new light? How can I apply this to my style? How can I make this work but still be my voice and still be me? So challenges are really fun and a really fantastic way to kind of pull yourself out of your rut and give you a new way of looking at things. So I definitely encourage you to go and find and participate in a challenge somewhere. So taking the time to step back and challenge yourself really can be refreshing. For me, it's almost energizing. When I can feel myself kind of losing my inspiration and not really know what direction to go, it's nice to spend some time working on something and creating something just for you without worrying about who's going to see it or what deadlines are there, or if you actually need to make the project. Sometimes you can just kind of make parts of projects and try different techniques, and it's just a lot of fun and removes all the worry and all the stress, and something that you can do just for you. So I definitely challenge you to kind of step out there, try something out, try something new, find something that you love, and just create for yourself. So I do want to say thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully I've given you some ideas to think about and some new things that are worth trying. If you have any questions, please definitely send us an email, leave a comment, and we will just make sure to check those. Also, if you want to make sure you don't miss any of our future videos, you subscribe to our channel. You can also catch us on Instagram and Facebook and see all the fun things that we're posting there. And also check out our blog on our website. We've always got new information that we're posting and new things that we're working on. So we hope that you have a fantastic week and go out there and stretch your muscles. And for the record, I still have not quilted with my left hand, but it is on the list, just on a quilt that doesn't actually matter. So have a good day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.